Web TV from the Sporting Globe, 690 Mount Alexander Road in Moonee Ponds. I'm Teo Pellizzeri, joined as always by Adem Saricaoglu. Adam, what a big weekend of football we just had. All the public holidays are out of the way, but now we can focus on a full weekend of football ahead as soon as we get through breaking down some of the major talking points from round three.
Yeah, it was certainly a big round three, Teo, over the two weekends with Good Friday and the Anzac Day games as well. We're lucky enough to see three of the five Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division games, Teo, on our broadcasts, and we're certainly much more knowledgeable now about some of the contenders in that particular division, but also some very interesting results coming out of Division 1 and Division 2.
Let's get to the biggest talking point of the week. Adam, what is the biggest talking point of the week for you?
For mine, it's the current makeup of each top four ladder at the moment, and there's some there's a few surprises at the moment, especially in Premier Division. You've got Greenvale in 9th position. Can you believe that at the moment? They're still winless, the Jets, so far this season. Airport West currently outside the top four as well. Division 1, you've got Taylors Lakes and Glenroy, two clubs you'd expect to be in the finals action. They're not currently in the top four. And in Division 2, Keilor Park is the surprise at the moment. They're still winless as well, and second last on the ladder. So for mine, it's the current makeup of each top four and exactly how that's going to play out in coming rounds.
For me, Adam, it's the nature of Aberfeldy's defeat on Anzac Day. You and I were there watching Avondale Heights kick 8 unanswered goals in the last quarter. Now, I'm no coach, and I probably don't need to point this out, but they weren't running hard. They weren't chasing. There were unmanned Avondale players everywhere inside the forward 50. And I used the word alarming. I think it was alarming for round three against a fellow premiership contender. That for me is the talking point of the week. By all means, be beaten by the better team, but like that, it is a real shock. That's my talking point of the week for sure.
Yeah, I highly doubt that Aberfeldy and the Mal Michael and his coaching staff underestimated just what Avondale Heights would bring to the table, but certainly right now, just how well they've played this year has been a bit of a surprise, and certainly they made a statement in that particular game on Anzac Day.
Those are the big talking points, but we'll get to the rest of the round and also the other two divisions in the wash-up. You're watching EDFL Web TV from the Sporting Globe, 690 Mount Alexander Road in Moonee Ponds. Wash up from the rest of round three. Of course, there were two games played a week in advance. 4 teams had a weekend off, but everyone else got out on the park either on Friday or Saturday. In Premier Division, your winners this weekend, Airport West, Maribyrnong Park and Pascoe Vale. Let's start, Adam, with the Pascoe Vale versus Essendon Duda Stars match. It'll be our game for match breakdown. So in a sentence, what can people expect when we go to the footage later on in Web TV?
A very dour first half, but a very exciting second half and a great comeback by Pascoe Vale. We'll get stuck into that in the match breakdown.
Airport West, down at three-quarter time. The Jets seemingly headed for their first win of the season. Airport West comes back, records a great win, and now Greenvale has lost 2 in a row at Section Road. You mentioned that they're 9th on the ladder, but what does this say about Airport West? They go into a match against Avondale Heights. It doesn't get any easier for the Eagles at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. That's going to be a massive game this weekend. I think Airport West hosts that game, so they'll be looking to build on their momentum after knocking off Greenvale, but certainly Greenvale's a massive talking point at the moment, 0-3. A very unusual situation for them, but they'll be hoping to get their season back on track. That was one of the results out of the weekend that had a lot of people talking.
We move on to Essendon Ford Division 1. Your winners this weekend were West Meadows, Tullamarine and West Coburg. Adam, let's start with Tullamarine. Down at three-quarter time against Hadfield. They were only a kick ahead against Oak Park the week before, and yet they've come out and in the last 2 final quarters, they have kicked 16 goals to 4. That's pretty impressive staying power, and we know now that they can run out a game.
Yeah, certainly Ash Manning will be quite pleased with their fitness levels at the moment, and we will see it firsthand this week against West Coburg, certainly. And they've been pretty good, Tullamarine, so far this year. It is a 4-quarter game. They keep putting together those 4-quarter performances and getting it done when it matters, but very much looking forward to see what happens this weekend when they do take on West Coburg.
What about Glenroy? Zipping 2. The word out of Glenroy is that their kicking for goal was quite poor again, and that running out the game, they've also got a few issues there. They must be surprised, though. This is a team that was in last year's grand final. Is it perhaps a bit of the St Kilda factor, the heartbreak of losing a grand final and it's hard to come back the next season? Or do you think there are bigger issues at play here? Perhaps that we might have even underestimated West Meadows or overestimated Glenroy?
Oh, look, it's very early in the season at the moment. Glenroy didn't play in round 1 with the bye. They had that extra week to prepare, so it is a slow build for them at the moment. They play Craigieburn this weekend, so they'll be really looking forward to making sure they can get a win on the board and maybe kickstart their season.
We move on to Division 2. We didn't have a close game on Saturday, but on Anzac Day, Coburg Districts getting over the line after trailing at every change against Keilor Park. And then on Saturday, Moonee Valley, Roxburgh Park and East Keilor were all comfortable victors. So, Adam, your takeaway from the weekend in Division 2?
Yeah, no surprises from Division 2 at the moment, and right now the narrative seems to be pretty clear about which teams are going to be competitive and which teams won't be, but certainly Anzac Day was an interesting game because Keilor Park kept up with Coburg Districts for a lot of it, but the Districts just got up in that particular game, so there are some question marks down at Keilor Park at the moment, but certainly Coburg Districts will be happy with how they're travelling year 2 into their tenure back in EDFL.
Now, we didn't have a close game on the Saturday, but the good sign is East Sunbury hasn't been beaten by 3 figures yet. They only did that once last season, and it took them almost the entire campaign to get within 100 points of one of their opposition. So I guess that's a positive, isn't it? I mean, obviously, it's hard to talk up these games that aren't close when you see the quarter-by-quarter scores roll through. But I think Burnside Heights did better than at least I was expecting against Moonee Valley this weekend. Jacana against the top team didn't get totally obliterated. They were competitive, and they'll back up again this weekend in a game where they'll probably fancy their chances a bit more. And as I mentioned, East Sunbury yet to lose by 100 points this season. So there are some good signs there that the gap is closing in Division 2.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a slow build for East Sunbury this year, but the fact that it's a little bit more open as well, Division 2 this year, means they can feel a little bit better going into each game. There is no hillside anymore, so there's no runaway leader. I know East Keilor have done some pretty good things so far this year, but there's certainly a few more contenders, and it's a lot more open Division 2 this year, so they'll take a little bit of solace out of that, as will the likes of Burnside Heights and so forth. But certainly, yeah, it is going to be a slow build for East Sunbury, and hopefully they can string some good footy together as the season goes on.
You're watching EDFL Web TV. That's it for the wash-up. Now we'll move on to our match breakdown and the highlights of Pascoe Vale versus the Essendon Doodle Stars.